See, women go around, use their advantage, but then are happy to cry about it straight away, saying, oh, he took advantage of me. And it's like, you're the one that wanted to have like the job promotion, or you're the one that wanted to get more attention or try and be more liked, but then they cry about it. And that's what I get frustrated about.
Hello, you watching right now, wherever you are, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or the middle of night, okay? We're all joined here together at this magical moment in history. You know how when we were in like GCSE time, we'd look back at like medieval medicine? Well, when they're looking in the textbooks in 20 years' time, they're not going to be looking at, you know, King Henry VIII or, you know, what medieval torture devices we used to use. They're going to be looking at this video today, Bonnie Blue versus Andrew Tate, and they're going to be studying it with every will and strong might possible. They're going to be having their heads buried in textbooks trying to decipher what this could possibly mean, and that's basically what I'm going to be doing today, except I know what it means. It means society is cooked. If you don't know who Bonnie Blue and Andrew Tate is, well, seriously, I actually don't know where you've been. I know I say that every time, but at this point, like, wake up. But also, that's probably good. It probably shows that you've got a job and like a normal life. Bonnie Blue is a OnlyFans creator, perhaps one of the most notable ever, I would argue, primarily because of her rise to infamousy using a variety of cretin techniques, such as sleeping with 1,057 men, saying that she likes barely legal schoolies, saying that she likes to destroy 18-year-olds' innocence by taking their virginity. You know, it's truly a magnificent, magical, whimsical creature of the land. And then we've got Andrew Tate, an influencer who is kind of part of the Tate brothers who do social media. You've got Andrew Tate and you've got Tristan Tate, both of them cretins, both of them between them are facing 21 charges. Andrew Tate himself is actually facing 10 charges. That includes actual bodily harm, controlling prostitution for financial gain, and human trafficking. So, you know, Andrew Tate is, I mean, you will have heard of him probably at the recent series Adolescence kind of delved into how Andrew Tate is kind of at the heart of a lot of the rising misogyny in young men and young boys. And for some reason, these two absolute decrepit clowns were like, oh, you know, what can we do to make society better? We can get together and absolutely just word vomit, which is pretty much what the whole video is. You know, we can only hope that they can benefit society even more by reproducing and creating more, like, I'm trying not to say stuff that's going to get me in trouble, so I'm just going to go with questionable human beings. There's a fly buzzing around. Also, I'm boiling. Spot patches because I'm breaking out. Fringe is still there, it's just hidden because it just will not sit down because it's so hot. So today we're going with the, like, I don't know what this is. So no forehead jokes, please. Or do it. I think you're going to do it anyway.
Andrew, what do you think of Bonnie Blue sleeping with 1,057 men?
How honest should I be out of 10?
11.
I want you to be honest.
Do you want me to be honest? Honest?
Yeah, go on.
I don't understand why men sit here and try and lecture you about it. I don't understand why men sit here and say you shouldn't do it. It's your body, your choice, right? This is the world we now live in. This is the end result of feminism. You are the perfect end result of feminism.
Should I tell him or should you guys? So the first 10-15 minutes of this interview is pretty much Andrew trolling Bonnie Blue and the audience eating that up because the audience of this video are so catastrophically mentally challenged that there is genuinely no saving them, and like anything that their King Cobra Tate hands their way, they're gonna gobble that up and swallow it like a cum shot. Like like anything this guy does, they will dive into and act like it is this amazing multi-dimensional tactic that their top G has kind of implemented for the conversation. It's actually insane. Like, all it is Andrew saying that Bonnie Blue is why feminism should not be around, and everyone's going, oh my god, he literally trolled her so hard, because he's going, oh, I don't know why people are, let me do my Andrew Tate impression. I don't know what, that's not Andrew Tate. Let's just go with a normal accent. He's say, I'm Andrew Tate. Wow, Bonnie, I don't know why men are lecturing you. I'm being sarcastic right now. It's just really funny that this is what feminism has got us. I'm Bonnie. Yeah, I taking, no, she's not American. Yeah, I literally love taking, Daddy Tate, you're so correct. Yeah, I think she should do what she wants. This is a sign of feminism. That's all it is. Just to skip for the 10 minutes, because everyone was acting like this is like Einstein level. It's not. this is the guy that you're idolizing. All it takes is him to say he's not even accurate. Like let's go through the levels of feminism. You've got first wave feminism, which was basically more to get women the right to vote. It was like the suffragettes, and meaning that like women, like gender roles, for example, women having to stay at home and not be able to work, women being able to open banks, that kind of stuff. So that wave of feminism definitely doesn't result in women getting by 1,000 men. Second wave feminism, primarily in the 60s and 70s, kind of focused on discrimination and equality, which again was not meaning that women are wanting to be freed from misogyny so they can get by 1,000 people. So that's not accurate either. And then third wave feminism kind of focused more on like the shortcomings of first and second, and basically meant that we focus on intersectionality, race, class, etc. So literally no part of these like actual real feminist theories and eras were women fighting to be able to that many people. Like actual feminists, as I've said 1,000 times, are talking out about this because it is the antithesis of feminism. Just because you label something that many feminists are also very against and condemn as feminism doesn't mean that just goes. It's like if I called any social movement, say I just said it was bad and I just don't agree with it because it's XYZ, that doesn't make it true. That's just my perception of it and me probably being uneducated. But again, these men love to demonize feminism, and this is the problem. This is why when anybody comes on my channel and they find out I'm a feminist, they get triggered because they think it means I hate men. Like seriously, it's too early to be getting this angry and it's boiling, so I'm trying to keep my cool.
In the conservative, traditionally masculinely ruled world, a man would be in charge of his daughters until they're handed over to their husbands or boyfriends, and there would be a degree of masculine guidance. But feminism didn't want that. Women complain that men don't want to get married. We did actually want to get married when we got obedient virgins, but they...
Get in a cage, bro. Like, put yourself in the bin. Well, you know what? Obedient virgins, why don't you just go for children? Oh, wait. Allegedly, one of you did. Allegedly. Yeah, I find that really, in regards to that comment, one of the Tate brothers, I think Tristan, has a charge that is allegedly to do with a minor. So I wouldn't be saying sentences like that if I were you, champ. But yeah, really weird, really strange. Just a little taste of what's going to go on in the video, but I'll continue. I just want to let you see the intro a bit, because although I've explained, I do think you need some background.
They complained about the patriarchy and they were tired of us giving them a house to live in and kids to raise, and they wanted to make their own.
No, spreading misinformation, world champion 101. What women were tired of was domestic violence. Women were tired of the fact that until a certain year you could legally your wife because there was no such thing as within relationships. That's what women were tired of. Women were tired of being forced to stay inside. Like, they had no choice. It wasn't like they're saying, we just don't ever want men to have any masculine roles. Again, this is another thing that anti-feminists do, is they act like feminists demonize masculinity, and again, it's nothing to do with that. And that's the biggest problem that we're facing. I don't think demonizing masculinity is good. I don't think praising masculinity is good. I don't think demonizing femininity is good, nor do I think praising femininity is good. I just think there should be no assigned, neither of those things should be assigned to anybody unless they want to do those things. But sure, feminists hate masculinity. That's really good. I love the straw manning that these people do.
So she's making her own choice. That's a fantastic thing. Yeah. I actually have a lot of respect for you because you own it and you're honest about it.
What if it was your daughter?
Well, that won't happen.
But she's her own person.
I never said my daughter's her own person. I said women want to be their own people. But my point is, there's so many women who go to Magaluf for a weekend and do something very similar, and then they come back to England and get with some guy and start asking for presents from him and talking about how they deserve a traditional relationship and they want to get married and they want a Christmas present and all this.
I can't take this guy seriously. Like, I look at him saying these anecdotes and I think, wow, you really got hurt by some girl, didn't you? You've really been hurt. Because, like, at the end of the day, first of all, no woman is going to Magaluf and 1,057 men. And also, the biggest outrage wasn't particularly just at her having sex with 1,000 men. It was all of the comments that were surrounding it. Like, and I quote, women shouldn't be surprised when their husbands cheat on them, when they're being lazy and don't want to have sex with them. I like to take, barely legal boys and girls' virginity because I like them losing their innocence. I want barely legal schoolies because they're innocent and young and I want to teach them things. They're why people hate her, not just primarily because she fucked 1,000 people. And quite frankly, I wouldn't care if she did that behind closed doors, to be perfectly honest. I have my opinions on it, but you know, she's not publicizing it if it was happening in the privacy of her own home. So I don't know what women you're hanging around with that are getting by 1,000 men, like in Magaluf in like one period of time. But those are not the same things. You're comparing hookup culture to some demonic only pornography that is only being done because she knows the market is so oversaturated. That's not the same thing whatsoever. Women wanting to have a lot of is not the issue here. And like, your obsession with purity and innocence and virginity is really concerning, especially as a man who allegedly has potentially done some really suspicious, violent things. It's not looking good, bro.
Most women do exactly what Bonnie does. I don't see you any different than most women. And I'm not saying that in a degrading way.
Most women don't sleep with 1,057 men in a day.
1,000? Does it matter?
I think it does.
I don't really think it does.
So
it's all disgusting to me. If I met a woman and she said, I just sucked a dick yesterday, I'd say, well, I find you repulsive. I don't want to sleep with you. Goodbye.
What, so you're only going after virgins?
Well, it's not about only going after virgins, but I think if you're a straight man, the idea of having a bunch of men, a woman that you're with, is pretty repulsive.
But everyone has a past.
But Steve, this is the kind of white people say. I don't know what's wrong with you people. Everyone has a past. That's not acceptable. In fact, let's analyze that. Everyone has a past. You're right. Everyone does have a past. It's true. But isn't the primary objective of a man to find a woman with as little past as possible? Would you argue that's one of the precursors to finding a wife? Considering that wives were supposed to be virgins. This was the deal.
Yes, in relation to the Bible. This damn fly, piss off. In relation to the Bible, but not all of us are Bible bashers. Like, so realistically, who gives a what you think? Who cares? With his logic, right, I'm not going to reveal my body count, okay, but it's pretty low. It's not anything incredible. Well, I say that. Last time I said my body count in a video, but I didn't say it was mine. I said I thought XYZ body count wasn't very big. Loads of people in the comments were like, wow, that is actually slutty of you, Katie. And I was just like, damn, God forbid a girl likes to have some in her spare time. So strange. That is equating me to then having been by 1,000 men for money on camera. Like, okay, I'm the same as Bonnie Blue. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you for that diagnosis.
I'm genuinely proud of you. I like Bonnie. I like what she's doing. Because the deal was...
Are you not, like, contradicting yourself here?
In what way?
Well, you're proud of her sleeping with 1,057 guys, but women should be virgins.
No, I'm saying that the social contract, the construct of society that made family function was women were obedient virgins and they found a man who provided for them and they listened to that man. Women have then said, we don't like the patriarchy. We're tired of being provided for. We're tired of being taken care of.
That's not true either. We wanted to own bank accounts without our husband's permission. We wanted to be able to spend money without permission. We wanted to be able to, you know, not have our whole body covered head to toe in cloth. A lot of things we wanted. I'm perfectly happy for my partner to work a job and provide, because I'm also providing. We provide for each other. In fact, my boyfriend is employed by my business, but it's technically our business. He's a director on our business. We get paid 50-50. We get the same wage. We make the same amount of money. We contribute to each other's lives the same amount. And we're happy that way, because there's no inequalities. My boyfriend's not beating me. My boyfriend's not telling me what I can and can't wear. My boyfriend's not controlling my money. So these are the things that feminism brought me. These are the things that I'm grateful for women in the past fighting for. And some bald-headed twat isn't gonna ruin that for women. You know, you can speak ill on feminism all you want, but that's because you've never seen the true benefits to it. Because you're a man, and you're a man who allegedly doesn't like women and allegedly takes it out on them in some allegedly violent ways. So sorry, King, that we ruined your chance to beat your wife without repercussions, allegedly.
We want to make our own decisions. That was women and feminism that ended the traditional family unit. And now women can make their own decisions. So I'm glad that Bonnie's making her own decision.
Again, this is down to choice feminism. This is what he's thinking of. He's thinking of white people feminism, which I know you guys are thinking, okay, you're white. I am. But the majority of white people think with white people feminism, which is basically nothing outside of the scope of like free the nip, which I have no problem with, but it's also not that simple. You know, they don't look twice at female genital mutilation. They don't look twice at child brides. They don't look at human trafficking. They don't care about the women and children in Gaza. You know, these type of feminists, that's what he's thinking about. You know, I like to think that the real feminism, actual feminism, not fake feminism, not liberal choice feminism, is actually benefiting women. That's what we should be focusing on. How are you going to sit there and say feminism is detrimental? If we completely ditch feminism, then look what would happen in certain countries. Look at the women in Afghanistan that I think I recently saw are now only allowed to like cover what they're allowed to like see out of one eye. Like, don't sit there and say to me, bro, that we don't need feminism. You're a man saying that, first of all. And even with all the feminism ideologies happening and the fight for equality, you don't even listen anyway. You don't let the law and what's right and wrong stop you from allegedly committing crimes. So I don't know what you're bothered about. You're going to do it anyway.
No, I'm the clear example of how to be empowered. I use my body. I do what I want, when I want. And this is the thing you've been banging on about for years. And when I get hate, like when I click on the comments of these women that are like, oh, you're taking us back 100 years. Then in their bio, it says stay-at-home mom of two. I'm thinking, what the was you rooting for? Because you have just stayed at home.
That's right, Bonnie. See, this is the future.
Yeah.
This is the future. This is fantastic. It's exactly what Western society's headed to. So why are we going to sit here and pretend this is not? Why are we going to sit here and pretend that most women who go on girls' holidays aren't doing something similar to what Bonnie does just because it's not on camera? Why are we going to sit here and pretend that these men who walk around with their wives in the pub in England, and they're like, oh, my wife, yeah, everyone has a past. Oh, no, she's done the same. What's the difference?
A stupid analogy, because so have men. Like, the conversations I overhear in pubs are diabolical when it comes to men talking about their wives and men talking about their past before their wives and men talking about who they'd shag. Like, it's so hypocritical. And it's only women that are expected to be pure and expected to be virgins, which comes down to the practices of also checking a woman's hymen, for example, in certain cultures to make sure it's intact. Purity culture is cancer. Purity culture is something that I feel very strongly about. And I get very annoyed when people try and bunch me into this ideology of purity culture and someone, as someone who pushes for that, because it's complete and utter nonsense. I genuinely think that it gets to a level of conservatism that some people have when it comes to women and not appealing to the male gaze, which means we kind of end up going backwards and full circle. Women should be allowed to show skin. I've had this massive think recently about the male gaze and how if women try and live their lives completely avoiding the male gaze, we will go back to square one, where we will be living in a very purist society. Because at the end of the day, where do you draw the line at what the male gaze is? Where do you stop trying to make sure you avoid the male gaze at all costs? A conclusion I've recently come to is that I don't think the male gaze is inherently a negative thing. It is the lack of anything other than the male gaze that is dangerous. Having things that only appeal to men at all times, or living your life, only to appease men, is the issue. There's nothing wrong with occasionally appealing to the male gaze. This is my mindset. Because if you try and always avoid appealing to the male gaze, you've got to stop shaving, you've got to stop wearing makeup, you've got to stop wearing nice outfits, you've got to stop having any skin on show. There's nothing wrong at all with appealing to the male gaze, point blank, period. It's when that is your sole purpose, you only live, breathe, and huff the male gaze. I think diversity, change, and a mixture of ideologies when it comes to feminism, when it comes to male gaze, when it comes to balancing. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's really hard to put into words. I just think trying to keep women from appealing to the male gaze in any way, shape, or form is purist culture, because there is nothing wrong with it every now and then. Like me wearing makeup, looking good. If we start to say, well, that's the male gaze, which I guess if you really deep dive into it, it technically is. But I'm not going to stop doing that just because there are connotations to the male gaze, because I enjoy doing those things. The reason I speak about this is because what Andrew is saying is that anything that women do that sexually benefits men is inherently negative, which is not the case, because in that case, we can't have intercourse as women either, because then it benefits men too. It's sexual and it involves men. In that case, are we not, like, where do we draw the line? Are you allowed to give your boyfriend a blowjob because that benefits a man and that's the male gaze? Do you know what I mean? When you start to focus on not doing anything whatsoever and be pure and be innocent, we're going backwards. Women should be able to be, I'm a person, I like having sex, I like showing my sexuality. Those things are not the same as 1,000 men putting it on blast in a raw, hardcore porn fucking way, and then also making very comments about barely legal teenage boys. Women should be able to, display their sexuality. It's just a problem, I think, when it is always appealing to the extremes of the male gaze, and also when it's the only thing that you do, because then it does reduce women to objects. Doing things in a public setting, obviously in an appropriate way, doesn't reduce you purely down to an object, because, newsflash, women do like to have. So therefore, Bonnie and the average person going to however men they want on holiday is not the same thing.
Who gives a right? We're either going to care and accept that women are judged on their past and judged on their innocence and judged on their naivety and judged on these things like it used to be, or we're going to sit and say it doesn't matter, everyone has a past. Well, if everyone has a past, everyone has a past. Who gives a does it really matter?
So
anymore?
What would you do if it was your daughter?
I mean, a woman's past is only important if you care about that. Don't a woman or don't be with a woman then who's had loads of bodies. I mean, honestly, I would not sleep with a man who has had with an abundance of women, not because I have a problem with his innocence being gone, that's disgusting, but because I think it shows a pattern of behavior after a certain number. So I don't want to think, well, I'm not going to be like an added number to your body count because you're probably going to leave soon. And for me personally, I don't really enjoy having in an environment that isn't romantic or is not going to turn romantic. So, but that's just me. That's not me saying, oh, I don't like dirty men who have had their in loads of holes, although I kind of don't if it's after a certain number. But again, the problem is that's just a personal thing for me. Andrew is saying that having with anybody is the issue. You shouldn't have a past at all. You should be a virgin. There is a healthy balance to have here. There's nothing wrong with saying you don't want someone who's had with a real high amount of people, as long as you're not saying it's an innocent and purity thing, and as long as you're not saying that's what everybody else should do with their lives, otherwise they're worthless.
I think that most women, to some degree, are workers anyway. Like,
I mean, yeah.
let's be honest about it, right? Most women look at Miami or Dubai. What's your job? Oh, I've got a boyfriend. So your job is being a girlfriend. And why does he give you money? Because you give him. So most women are workers anyway, to be honest.
But isn't that what you said the family unit was?
Well, then you're a worker with one customer, which is nice. I guess it's better. It's more efficient.
But what about if you're raising...
You have to excuse me because I'm enjoying a tuna. It looks like but it's actually good. It's a tuna wrap for the gains. Yeah, he completely contradicted himself there, and the interviewer pointed that out, and his response still didn't make any sense. So in that case, your wife who is loyal to you and only having sex with you in the future is a sex worker. What? And also, okay, in Miami and Dubai, like some of the worst places to live, I would never want to live there, ever. It's like hell. Like, why would you choose to live there? That is a really bad example because it is a very artificial, superficial place, Dubai and Miami. And you know what? Maybe people are just being with their boyfriend for money, but that's a two-people thing. That guy knows that. That guy knows that's happening. I don't... Dumb.
Children, that's not work, is it?
No, that's being a mother.
Yeah.
All right, so that's interesting, Rob. Rob said this, not me. So they're either virgins, workers, or mothers. Are those the three categories?
I think you're putting words into my mouth.
I think that's what Rob just said. Those are the three categories.
I'm just sat in the middle.
And women have to choose to be one of them.
So is that what you think?
I think that when a woman becomes a mother, she has a purpose. And I think that women should be having children as soon as possible. And I think it gives their life a...
I got pregnant when I was 18, 19, and I got rid of it. Because if I hadn't have had an abortion, I wouldn't be sat here making videos. I wouldn't be making money. I wouldn't be in a happy relationship. I would have had my ass beat. And, yeah. So, I actually think I made the wise decision. And some upside-down ass head motherfucker, whatever you are, like an ass, isn't gonna make me feel bad because I haven't had babies yet. God forbid a woman wants to enjoy her life without popping out babies like pillies. All right? Kids are lovely. Kids are beautiful. I love babies. When I see babies, it makes me happy. I love just seeing how cute they are, right? God, I really am sounding like a YouTuber now. But I'm not ready for a baby. I have plans. I like making money. I like spending money. And I like hoes. That's what it started to sound like, didn't it? Some like weird rap. But no, I like living my life for myself. I can barely look after myself, seriously. I can barely wash my ass. You really think I can look after a baby? I'll have a baby, Andrew, if you look after it, but keep it away from your brother, allegedly.
Direction, and I think it's the most important thing to preserve society, especially if you want to talk about geopolitics and talk about race and all of these things. If you want to have a country that looks like the country it used to be, you need to have the original people from there having children. I think all of that is true, absolutely. I think...
So he's against interracial couples. Okay.
Every day a woman goes without having kids is primarily a waste of time.
Every day you go without doing the thing is also a waste of time. The thing. Don't cancel me.
But, once again, what does it matter what I think? Rob, I've given up. I've given up trying to save the world. I've given up. No, Rob. I've given up.
Haven't.
I've given up on misogyny and all this shit.
No, you haven't.
They attacked me with the Matrix. They keep throwing me in jail. I am now all for women empowerment. I think women should run around as many men as they want.
Well, the thing is, you know, in a lot of people's minds, innocent until proven guilty and all that, right? But the thing is, when you've got 10 charges against you, now me, I've got no charges against me. Never been involved with the police on my end for doing anything wrong. And I think that's because I haven't done anything wrong. When you have multiple charges, all related to women, and with 3 different women making accusations against you, it gets a bit sticky, you see. Because what you're saying here is that the Matrix attacked you, right? Okay. The Matrix attacked you. Well, that's usually how it works when you may or may not have committed crimes and you need to be investigated. But I can tell you right now that your crimes have nothing to do with trying to, you know, make the world a better place. That's disgusting, actually, cut that out. Your crimes are because you're a terrible man, allegedly. Remember. My favourite thing, I need to stop chewing. My favourite thing about men who have been accused of something, and it's by multiple people, is that, are you really going to die up the tree, die on the hill, that both of those people, or 3 of those people, or 4 of those people are crazy? I never understand this. Like, the whole, like, clout chasing. Do people, right, if you report an incident or essay to the police and you go through with it, one of the very first stages, you have to sit and do a very, very long video statement where you relay everything. And I think this is for educational purposes, that you guys know stuff like this. But for example, they'll ask you where the person finished. Were they wearing a condom? What were you wearing when it happened? What position were you in? How long did it last? What did they say? All questions, by the way, about being. It's really not a pleasant experience. And I, for one, after having done a video interview statement myself once, would not go and do it again. I would never do it again. Obviously, if I had to, I would. But in no planet is a woman going, yeah, I fancy doing that. So these whole, like, false, yeah, sure, buddy. We'll see about that.
I like what Bonnie's doing. She's getting the bag. She's getting rich. Most girls out here don't want to have kids. They just want to get Birkin bags and Instagram likes. Good. I'm a feminist, a pro-feminism.
I don't even know what a Birkin bag is. What's a Birkin bag? Is that some, like, I don't even know what that is.
This is the world now. How the world's going to end up, who gives a who cares about the future? Doesn't matter.
See, women go around, use sex to their advantage, but then are happy to cry about it straight away, saying, he took advantage of me. And it's like,
oh, okay. That took a really horrible turn. Okay, Bonnie. God, here we go. Pick me ultimate final boss. Oh, what would work, guys? Oh, let's play on the fact that many men think that women just cry rape for no reason. Around 90% of are committed by known men to someone that women know. And it's often by somebody that the victim was very close to or even loved, or a family member. It is not one-night stands where people turn around and regret it and shout, which is this ideology narrative that so many apologists and people that like to pretend that the crisis is just this made-up phenomenon for women to hate on men. It's what they like to say. So I'm not surprised that she said this. I don't think she actually fully thinks about what she's saying. But Bonnie, all I'm going to say to you is you are so lucky that you are in a position where you've clearly never been through anything violent, for you to be able to make sweeping statements to appeal to men and suck off men, because you find that like a little PR stunt, a little bit like, this will get him. I feel like there's so much to say about stuff like that I actually feel speechless. And I always have to like reflect on what she said.
you're the one that wanted to have like the job promotion, or you're the one that wanted to get more attention or try and be more liked, but then they cry about it. And that's what I get frustrated about. And even with stars, like people in my industry, they'll do this for a few years, get the money, get the boob jobs, get the house. And then suddenly they go, oh my God, I was forced into the industry. Oh my God, someone took all my money.
Okay, let's do a little critical thinking. Let's do a little bit of logical thinking. Okay. Feels like my boobs are going to pop out of this every 5 seconds. When stars such as Mia Khalifa come out and they talk about their history of the industry, and Lana Rhoades even, it's a very, very valid thing that these people discuss. And actually, I'm very grateful that they come out and speak about it, because if it wasn't for them, many other women would not know what they're getting themselves into. Many women now don't know what they're getting themselves into when they enter the industry. People like you glamorize it, they act like it's this brilliant choice that you have and everything's positive. That's only because you're making a ton of money. And by the way, you're making a lot more money than these stars that go into very big mainstream companies are making. Many of them, they get paid once, and then all the earnings that video makes goes straight to the company. People like Mia Khalifa, for example, didn't know what they were signing up to. Many stars, I've seen very many stars in interviews talk about how they signed a contract, they didn't know what they were signing, they were 18 and naive. So yes, if they do turn around in the future and cry saying they took all my money, that is a very disgusting and horrible thing that these people have to go through. It is very sad to know that women are tricked into the industry. Some of them are forced into the industry, Bonnie. Some of them are literally forced into it, either physically or they are pressured because of monetary reasons and their financial situation. So sitting there in your high horse doing it from the comfort of your house is absolutely not like the women that are coming out crying after they've got all their money. It's such a disgusting thing to say, and it proves that I don't think she herself is even educated on the subject, which is crazy when you're in that industry. Do your research. So many women end up saying, like, hey, I'm going into the industry, I'll do this shoot with you guys, but my off limit is anal. I don't want to do anal. What happens a few sessions later down the line? They're doing anal, usually gangbanged, getting by multiple men in the ass after saying they never wanted to do it, because they end up either getting pressured or they offer more money, or it's a situation where ultimately they just didn't know how to say no, which is a very real thing. And to sit there and act like that's really funny and like, haha, they just cry afterwards, when these women are left with serious trauma, you're really fulfilling the typical, man's dream of saying, oh, well, they choose to do it and then they cry. Like, tell me you just lack critical thinking and you have very narrow tunnel vision without telling me.
Consider the job as a lawyer. Because I could do with you. 100%.
Oh, so Andrew's saying that what happened to him was, allegedly 3 women cried afterwards. I've slept with a fair few amount of people and none of them have ever turned around and said, actually, you know why that is? Because I've never done it. And most people I know have never done it. So, you're pretty unlucky, bro, if you're being falsely accused by multiple women. How unfortunate.
You're 100% right. So this is the false dichotomy of society, right? So this is the reason when I said I like what Bonnie does, because Bonnie completely 100% owns what she does, and she says it's my decision. And I've seen people try and lecture you. I've seen people sit there and try and lecture you and say like, oh, but you're a creature of God and you shouldn't be doing this. No, you should do whatever the you want.
Exactly.
It's up to you to do whatever you want. And you're not saying anybody tricked you into it. It's your decision. And let's be honest, when they talk about taking women back 100 years, let's actually be very honest here, Rob. No disrespect.
No disrespect.
There's always been...
It's the oldest profession.
Ancient Rome had...
It's not the oldest profession. I just want to get that out there. They always say this is not... It's not the oldest. That's a fact that it's not. Farming, gathering, and being a midwife are the oldest professions. But yeah, anything to discredit being a midwife, one of the most difficult and important jobs of society. Being a is one of the biggest... Yeah, off. Get your facts right. These morons spewing misinformation. It's the same morons I get on TikTok harassing me every day, claiming, it's the oldest profession, so stop being misogynistic. Oh, God, shut the up, seriously.
If you ever host a virgin party, count me in.
How would you get into a virgin party?
Well, no, but I'll be there to take the virginities. I'm obsessed with it.
Why are you obsessed with taking boys' virginities?
Well, just like how Andrew likes 18-year-old.
Wait, okay. Careful now.
Sorry, should I go
I'm
younger?
under investigation. What I have said...
Andrew, 18 is a legal age. I don't know what you class as legal.
No,
but...
18 is legal. You're right.
Yeah.
But the reason, actually, and it's interesting you said this, but the reason men prefer younger women is because they have less history. That's why. Yeah. The average 22-year-olds live less life than the average 30-year-old. That's why men prefer younger women in general. But sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just clarifying because everything gets clip farmed, and before you know it, I'm back in handcuffs.
So not 18, 19. But I'd happily take an 18-year-old on their birthday. Like
Why?
Closer to 18. I just want them.
So there is this argument always about if men are biologically inclined to prefer young women. There's actually no evidence to suggest that biologically the reason you're attracted to younger people is because you are meant to be like that. But there is also no evidence to suggest that that isn't the case. There's no evidence to suggest either of those things. My theory, and what many people think, which is pretty logical, is that attraction is a very multidimensional thing, and a lot of it is to do with how you're socialized, your surroundings, what you were raised by, just many different factors that will kind of make you who you are and what you're attracted to. And like playing devil's advocate, even if it was true, right, that men are naturally attracted to 18-year-olds, that doesn't mean you have to go there. You don't have to do it just because you genuinely believe, even though there's no evidence to show, that you are naturally more inclined to 18-year-olds, even if you're like 50. There is no evidence to suggest that that's true. And even if there was, it doesn't mean you have to do that. A lot of these people as well, they like to claim, well, it's biology because, younger women are more fertile, which is true. I mean, when you're your late teenage years and kind of early 20s, you are the most fertile that you will be in your entire life. However, you can still have babies well into your 20s and even in your 30s. The average woman hits the menopause around 51 in the UK. So making, the prime age of 18, because that's when you're, legal, and, anything after, means you've got too much history, is ridiculous. And it's all about control. It's all about purity culture. It's nothing at all to do with biology ever. So with the logic of biology and what men are more inclined to like, why is it 18-year-olds? Why not 19? Why not 20? Why not 21? Why not 22? Why not 23, 24, 25? You get it. You can still have babies at those ages. It's older women that you should be referencing that. I mean, you shouldn't be saying that anyway. But if you are going to have that mindset, that would only apply to women who are close to the menopause or during menopause, because then they can't have babies. It's dumb logic. I also think primal urges are so often used as an excuse for crazy behaviour. I know it seems like a really big reach and stretch, but it's the same thing a lot of incels like to use to defend is that, men are made to come, men have to come. And, with the male loneliness epidemic and how women won't men, it means that, they have to come out somehow. So, they manage to excuse that way. Just because you believe that the body has a natural order that you have to follow doesn't mean you're excused of your actions that follow. And it's also really funny, if we follow the logic of age, then women should be after young men because women ovulate, women get horny, women are biologically meant to have babies. So why are we not going after 18-year-olds?
Listen, I want to strip them from that. I want to
steal
take their
their
innocence. I want to watch
Like
their
Shang
toes
Tsung.
curl up as they come for the first time from a girl. Like, I love that. And I also think it's educational. So I'm obsessed
How's
with
it educational?
You think about education at school. It's from a middle-aged teacher that's not been laid. And they basically say, you have sex or you're probably going to die from an STD. There's no information. If anything, they should whip up one of my DVDs, put it on screen and show, look, that's how the enters the, this is how you get a girl wet. There's none of that. So me having sex with them shows this is a woman's body. Yes, a woman's Andrew, not trans. And
I don't think you're trans.
And
We'll come to that.
They don't know.
Again, this education system is bad, it's flawed, it's very flawed, and I will be the first to agree with that. I have many problems with that. I spoke about that before. And I know she's rage baiting, bro. I know that what she's saying is just to get a reaction, and she's getting one. But yeah, I'm not going to explain that because you guys, we're not stupid. I don't need to treat you like you're stupid. You know why that's stupid. The education system lacks a lot of teaching that kind of fully goes into anatomy. It also lacks a lot of kind of logical teaching, and the fact that we don't have men learning about periods, for example. That's why half the men, well, more than half the men, probably 3/4 of the men on the planet couldn't tell you a single stage of a period. It's really embarrassing. And that's why this, health education system is flawed. This health education system doesn't need to go through to a really high degree and like show of entering we know what that looks like. When I was 11 and they explained what was, I kind of gathered.
That's had 10 dicks in it, or 20 in it, or 50 in it.
What about 1,057?
Well, I don't know. Maybe these men are just bi, or I don't know. Maybe they're desperate. You can argue lots of things.
See, I don't agree, but I do get where you're coming from. Like some of these guys, especially 6 hours in, they come to me. It's the floor's like an ice rink. There's that much cum on there. My face, I'm barely recognizable. Like my hair is slicked back. My eyes are full of cum. Like my whole body is so slippery from cum. And yet they still come, they kiss me, they touch me. And I think, what if they don't want to touch me because I'm covered in another guy's cum? And when I do the gangbangs and there's a lot of men together, I have security in that room. A lot of people assume that security's for me. It's not. It's for the other guys, because I'm always concerned, like, if another guy comes and it hits another guy, I don't want a fight to break out. I don't want them to be like, oh, that's gay, don't touch me. So there's always security when I do these events, but it's predominantly for the guys because I'm scared a fight's going to break out because they think it's gay.
Well, pick me, man. Yeah, definitely not because, one of these men could like murder you at any point. Definitely not because, some horrible shit could happen to you because you're putting yourself in a position that is extremely dangerous by having sex with loads of strangers. And also, I think it says a lot about men if they're willing to fuck you when you're covered in someone else's cum. I'm sorry. That's grim. That's disgusting. I actually, it painted such a vivid picture in my head, and it makes me kind of ill. And if you are genuinely one of the men out there who's done that, put yourself down. euthanize yourself, do anything you can to get off this planet.
And you respect this profession?
I understand the profession. The profession has been around for a very long time. I respect the honesty, actually, what I said. But yeah, I think the men who turn up to these events are gay, by and large. I think they're at least bi. Because I think that if you're a straight man, you don't really want to be near other kind of men's genitals. And time, in and of itself, we should resurrect Einstein and get him in this conversation. He'll tell you more about it than me. But, time's all happening at once, they say. And that, it's not linear like we believe. And there's another dimension where everything happens at once. Have you seen Interstellar?
Yes.
Cool. So if you her after she's been your at the same time she is being, and the is in there with your, and it's all happening in one big time warp of jizz.
Is that
and it's better if you're just nowhere near it.
If that's the case, Andrew, then you men as well, because you've literally said you people that have been by other people. So with that logic, your has also been in with other. Like, you're gay then. You're gay. You're a sucker. Also, the comments on this video is hilarious. Like, they're glazing him so hard. They're glazing so hard. If you read through this comments, his bald head won't be the only thing that's glistening.
Either women do not have the ability to make their own decisions, or they do.
So if I cared enough about what was going off, or think I could change it by voting,
but you can't.
So yeah, I don't bother looking in the news or anything like that.
Of course.
And also, why
but you're
should I look at the
confusing me,
news?
because you say you don't give a fuck about anything on the world and it's just about you, but then you're trying to promote that you're a great role model for men.
I care about mental health, and I care about draining their balls and having fun and having. The only time I talk about the raise is when women are crying, saying I'm increasing it. So if you want to start crying and making TikToks and making false allegations, I'll slap you in the face with the facts. The facts are 32% is decreased because of sex workers.
She can't even speak properly. 37% decrease. First of all, people like to throw this stat around quite a lot. Or, work decreases the rate. Let me just start off by saying, Bonnie, that's people talking about prostitution, by the way, not porn. It is factual that does not increase the rate. It's actually been proven to do the opposite. It encourages violence, essay in relationships, blurred lines of consent. So it's quite the opposite. You're talking about sex work. You're talking about actual. Now, prostitution, there may be connotations between the rise of and the drop of, right? That's because prostitution is illegal. When prostitutes are raped, which happens very, very often, they can't report it because they'll be in trouble for soliciting and prostitution. So actually, I would argue that there probably isn't a very big difference, and I think the amount of that are is probably concerningly and disgustingly high. So first of all, I'm going to hit him in the face with the facts. You can't even get the facts correct. We're not talking about porn. Porn has not, categorically not been proven to reduce rates. And even if it had, what does that say about society? What does it say even about, prostitution reducing rates? That's man won't, if man can come on prostitute. Just listen to yourselves. I see this argument used time and time again, and it's pathetic, and you need to be shot. Sorry. Not Bonnie, just anyone that says that. That was up.
Women can't change the world, Rob. Let's look at this. Let's take this away from Bonnie for a second.
But haven't you said that feminism's just taken over?
Feminism was given to women by men. Men are the only ones who can project force, Rob. Feminism is a male movement. Do you think if women march around in the street outside, anybody gives a The only reason they get away with it is because men stand around them with guns. Men enforce feminism. Men project force. If women really wanted to fight the patriarchy, and they don't, trust me, the reason they say they want to fight the patriarchy is because the patriarchy doesn't fight back. If it became a real fight, patriarchy versus women, it would last 10 seconds.
Bro just summarised why we need feminism in 5 sentences. What a scary man. Oh, why was I named in adolescence? I don't promote misogyny. I'm just a simple man with simple needs. I'm done. I filmed for an hour. I'm tired. This is halfway through. If you guys want me to watch part 2, I'm literally delirious. It's 30-something degrees in this room. Please thank me. I'm really hot. Yeah, I am. Anyway, if you did enjoy this, I'll do a part 2 and continue it because I'm guzzling money like it's come. See these guns? It's really hot in here. Goodbye, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button, like and subscribe and hit the bell.